Hi guys, Mr. Jaeger here, and welcome to not Invictus Flight Week, but instead Drake Interplanetary Defense Con. So, what exactly is Drake Interplanetary Defense Con? Well, it's Drake Interplanetary going, hey look, we're not bad, we've got a floor with our name on it, and we're not the bad guys, even though our ships, which are often seen in the hands of pirates and terrorists and anyone who attempts to fuck with the UEE, but they didn't buy those ships from us. No. They totally stole them with money that was given to someone who may have worked for us at some point in the past, perhaps. We're not selling them to pirates, I swear. Yeah, if you're as unconvinced as most of the people in the verse, then you will no doubt know that Drake Interplanetary's Defense Con is more of a mockery than anything. But regardless of whether the intentions to try and seem like the good guys are true, this is still an event where you can witness what the Drake Interplanetary has over all the fancy pants ships in that big old factory, big building over there in the new Babbage thing. It's too shiny for anyone anyway. And red is a nice colour. So, you can access this building, or this part of the Defense Con, by going to the new Babbage spaceport, which means it's really simple to get to. It's very big and noticeable as well. Ish, maybe. I mean, you'd think they'd probably put some kind of banner here, but no, I guess the new Babbage Microtech had a bit of a restriction on that. So anyway, what exactly is Drake Interplanetary? Well, as mentioned, they are a company that favors function over form, and when I first started this game, I was a bit of a big fan of theirs because their ships looked very menacing. They were very, as I said, utilitarian. They didn't have anything. Like Origin Jump Works. Like if you had to compare the two factions, like imagine Origin Jump Works, which is very easy to imagine, very seductive, very sleek, very lucrative, rich, white, dead inside, and then basically think the exact opposite of think of the Drake Interplanetary as the exact opposite. Bulky, utilitarian, almost, duct tape. Duct tape is very much a strong thing in Drake Interplanetary ships. It not only holds them together, but it also looks good, which is fine by them. So anyway, we'll start off today's session by looking at this little jib that the Drake defense guys decided to leave. It's on the other side as well of this thing, as you can see. And it just simply reads, after the fleet launches, who's left to protect you? So it's another little jab at the UEE's mysterious fleet. I'm half expecting to see some kind of holographic, like a mini holographic method of a mercenary just flipping the middle finger at like a UEE officer, but hey ho. But no. This is Drake Defense Con. Now, a couple of caveats before we go into this particular episode. The first is that this is during the last half of the Invictus free flight event, meaning there's server stability and frames are going to be a mixed bag, though luckily I think this server is going to hopefully, Emperor willing, last long enough for me to do it and not have horrible frames. And second, I'm slightly nasally at the latter stages of a cold. I'm hopefully not going to sound too bad, but in case I do, apologies there. So, yes, Drake Interplanetary, a company famous and infamous for their vessels. As you can see, some of them are pretty big and menacing, and are now, admittedly, in this vehicle's case, the Drake Caterpillar is kind of lost. Is potentially going to be thrown into the hit into the shadows now after the Hercules release. God, I wonder if that means it's going to make it more common to be sold. That would be cool. But yeah. So we're going to start things off by talking about this ship, the Cutlass Black. Now, to be fair and give credit to Drake Interplanetary, they know how to make a good all-rounder vessel. The Cutlass Black is probably the best all-rounder ship. As much as I begrudgingly will admit it, it is the best all-rounder ship you can find for what money you spend. If you spend about, 100 quid? Maybe around that margin, maybe $110, 110 euros, around that margin, you will find yourself a pretty damn good ship. It's got a nice variety of size 2 and 3 weapons. You've got a manned turret at the rear, VTOL thrusters, cargo bay doors on the sides, and a cargo bay to the rear. Decent access for a ramp, and overall, and very quick in atmo. You will find yourself in a good... owning this ship will put you in good stead. And if you happen to own an ROC, the Grey Cat ground mining vehicle, it is recommended, well, for new players, to get this ship with the ground ROC. Now, I have a particular issue with this suggestion, because I have had I've had trouble getting the ROC comfortably into the back of this ship. 2 reasons. First of all, this rear section pinches, as you can see. As you go into the main cargo bay, you've got plenty of room to maneuver around. But near the end of the ship, it kind of pinches into an asshole, which makes it kind of awkward because you have to literally just slowly drive up into this thing. It's way awkward when it comes to with the wide wheel arches that the ROC has. Second, you may notice that the ramp is also designed with a sort of a pinch at the front section, which means you have to hit it at the right spot in order to not crash your vehicle into the back of the Cutlass Black. It's doable, all I'll say. It's a great transport vehicle. It can do it can transport a load of vehicles. It can transport, I think, even a cyclone. But it is awkward, to say the least. If you are going to go for a transport vehicle for mining, I'd recommend other vessels. But if you enjoy cheap and cheerful, then this vessel is definitely for you. Bit of an open space, bit of a dead open space, but an open space. There's the operation point for a manned turret. Weapons and ammo rack. You've got a co-pilot seat as well, but that doesn't really get too much use. And of course, the pilot seat will only get into these sort of once. All of the variants of the Cutlass Black do get given a thing. You do have a very good MFD support. Do we get any MFDs for this? No. Yeah, it's not a... It is unfortunately a showroom follow model, but it is a good ship. I won't lie about that. And yeah, it does have the sexiest sounding AI voice as well. So I'll give it points for that. It does have the sexiest sounding AI voice. So I'm not a huge fan of this vehicle. Like, I don't have one. I don't need one. But at the same time, I will not shit on a vehicle unnecessarily because it is a good all-rounder. It does have VTOL-capable thrusters as well. And as you can see by the construction, or lack of it, tisk, it's a very, very utilitarianly focused vehicle, but it does what it needs to do, which for most Cutlass Black flyers out there is what it is. It's a flying vessel which can do some decent damage and has missiles to boot. If you're a law-abiding citizen and have done the 890 jump mission, you'll no doubt have engaged these ships a couple of times at least. So not a strong vehicle, and if flown with a good pilot, can be quite deadly. So that's the benchmark for many, many, many others. They're really going to town with this edition, aren't they? Moving on from the base benchmark Cutlass, we are now going to have a look at probably my personal favourite in the series, which is the Cutlass Red. Now, this is currently the most popular Cutlass with clans because it offers the ability to spawn players who have been killed in combat. This is the only ship at the moment that has multiple spawning beds, and for the price that you can get it, which is a pretty damn good price, I will agree, you can actually be quite useful to any kind of clan that you're working with, which is pretty cool. So instead of having a back big interior with the ability to store vehicles, you're instead given the opportunity to have 2 medical beds. Now, the game's design is going to make this vehicle eventually only be able to stabilize or treat minor wounds whilst you're on the way to a nearby hospital. This is also Drake Interplanetary's way of saying that we're not the bad guy. Look, we're an ambulance guy. You wouldn't attack an ambulance guy, would you? Even if he was storing narcotics in the beds where patients are supposed to be. Purely for medical use only. So, yeah, the Cutlass Red is probably in my opinion, the best one out of the bunch because it is the most used to most Star Citizen players out there. If you're with a bunch of friends, you're doing some mining, you're fucking about, a Cutlass Red is always a good thing to have because then you don't have to go all the way back to a station if you're being killed or if some other level of bullshit occurs. So all in all, a very good ship to have. There's no weapons on on the turret though. You do have very limited amounts of armaments for self-defense. I don't think you have any missiles. But the co-pilot does have access to a spotlight, which if I can get if I can have a look outside, you can see over here is basically a really good spotlight, which you can move around as well, which is very nice indeed. Hello, man who's lost his legs. Glad to see you're able to get around. Oh, he's sinking further into the ground. Who's oh, fuck you, I'm going to disappear to the nether realm. Okay, you enjoy hell. So this, of course, is the the direct challenge to law enforcement by saying, we're not bad, we have police ships, like you. This, of course, is the Cutlass Blue. This one is, obviously, by the looks of the vessel, dedicated for police work. This vessel does, however, have the ability to utilize an EMP. I don't know how powerful it is in comparison. I've not yet had a vehicle with an EMP launcher, so I don't know if there's any particular scales you can challenge. So I'd like to see a competition between a Sentinel Vanguard and the Blue Cutlass. But yeah, generally these are for law enforcements on maybe outer rim planets, as you can see by the oh so wondrous self-contained units. The prisoners to be put into jail are placed in these lovely refreshing boxes and are utilized quite efficiently to restrain them until they are taken to prison. So look, you have life symbols on them, so if someone is there, they're not going to die at least. So yeah, that's the Drake Cutlass series. On the other side, it's just mirrored on the other side of the room, so you get to look at them on both sides. But no, for the Drake Interplanetary, the Cutlass is definitely the sort of signature ship of Drake Interplanetary. But that's not the only ship in its line. And of course, we've got the Caterpillar, but we'll save that till we finish with these other two. They, of course, have fighters. Dedicated and awesome fighters is that. One of them is this. This, of course, is the Drake Buccaneer. So the best way I could really describe the Drake Buccaneer is imagine the orcs of Warhammer 40,000 having the ability to design a ship in Star Citizen. Maybe somehow someone got a pledge through in Orcish, and someone in Cloud Imperium Gaming understood Orcish, which was big engines, lots of dakka, make it go faster. And yeah, that is pretty much how this ship works. Armor, non-existent. Shields, crap. This thing dies very quickly if it gets shot. But the concept is that you're supposed to destroy the thing before it even gets the chance to shoot you. It has got a size 4 Gatling gun at the top, size 3 laser repeaters, size 2... size 1 machine guns, and a mixture of size 4 size 2 missiles. It is ridiculous and a lot of fun. No, I might have been mistaken. Size 2 guns, size 3 Gatling. Or is it size 2? I swear to God, this game is always a curse with me when it comes to Gatling and other weapons. But I imagine... that might be a size 4, size 2 repeaters, and size 1 machine guns. But either way, its mixture of firepower makes it, at a stock level, really kind of nice. Obviously, you might want to consider upgrading once you get the weapon to get more attrition levels, repeaters, and other items if you are more of a PvPer. I am not, as you can tell by my lack of knowledge on ship components, but what I can say is it is exceedingly fun to fly around in and blow stuff up. Especially if you're going planet side and you've got the engines at the back roaring. I love this ship. It's a lot of fun. I realize I'm not going to make any big wins out of it and tank a whole lot of damage, but this is the kind of ship that I want to use when I say fuck it, I want to have some fun. And Drake Interplanetary's Buccaneer is all about fun. So moving on to ships that are all about fun and going into the thrones of combat, let's have a look at a ship that sadly isn't probably going to see a lot of love until the game's data style community starts coming into it. Hello, towering person. Anyway, so this is the Drake Herald. You don't see a lot of these you don't see much of this actually, which is a bit of a shame. But this is a pretty awesome ship, and I'm going to give it some love because I like the look of it. It looks funky, and I think it's worth some attention. So the concept of this ship is it's a data transfer vehicle. The main concept is that it flies around, It sends and receives information from wherever and whenever. Maybe even receives encrypted information, maybe unencrypted information, encrypts it, sells it for a high price, that sort of thing. And as you can see, quite a lot of intention and effort was made sure that this vessel could get out of Dodge in a hurry. Look at the fucking size of these engines. Like, yeah, this is a ship that basically says, I have no intention of staying and fighting, but I am damn good at running. Gets a size 1 machine gun at the front. I think it's gimbaled. Is it gimbaled? Yeah, it's gimbaled. And some size 1 missiles on the side. So, as you can see, has a side access panel. It's a bit of a cramped space, so I am probably going to struggle to... there you go. Hello, sir. So as you can see, it's a crew of 2. Very simplistic. Or a crew of 1, actually, depending on who gets the luck of the draw. And internally, it's very cramped, a little claustrophobic. Kind of the perfect ship to sort of live in. Finger quote, live in. If you're the kind of guy who likes to chill out in the middle of the middle of a random sector, not really much happening, you're playing some weird kind of electronic music, and you're just minding your own. I mean, to be honest with you, you could probably solo fly this if you weren't, if you were desperate enough. But at the same time, I think it's more intended to have 2 people. You could, and I'm not saying this is a thing I always say at every con, but I think it's well worth mentioning. You could also have this, you could fly this ship and utilize it as a bit of a secret transport. Because obviously if you're not really doing any jobs in the data market, for example, and you want to make some extra credits, then it's always possible for you to be like, okay, I'll hire myself out as a transporter. If you want me to get you from A to B in a really big hurry and not, in a more discreet fashion, then I can get you there. I will say, the Drake Herald is a ship that I think is, at the moment, like with many vessels, like the Terrapin, like the... what was another ship? Well, a bit also even like the Starfarer. It's there, it's flyable, you can do something with it, but really right now, it doesn't have much of a use. But when the games... MSR, there we go. When ships like the MSR, like the Herald, like all of these things have functionality, data hacking and all that, this vessel will have its day. And I look forward to seeing this in a fleet. I look forward to seeing someone flying around with this and saying that this is a good ship, because I like this ship. I see the potential. Just not yet. In Drake Interplanetary, utility is a very strong word, and you can't get any stronger in utility than transportation. And the Caterpillar fulfills that role nicely. Well, actually, to be fair, probably not for long, though, because as you can see behind me, the Caterpillar now has a rival. So, for explanations, the Caterpillar was, or is, a transport vessel which can carry up to 576 SCUs worth of cargo. It's also relatively cheaper. It is cheaper than the C2 Hercules, being $295 in comparison to the Hercules 400, which is the C2 edition. But the SCU level cargo increase, the better security system, and better flying does actually kind of feel to make the, in my opinion, the Hercules C2 edition a little bit more worth it. But let's have a look at this vessel, because previously this is the ship that for many a year was given the reign, or given the title of the largest playable cargo transportation ship in the game. It also had a decent strength in terms of like multi-crewing, because you did need multiple crew members if you were going to be a person who made a lot of money rolling between the two, different locations for transportation. We enter into the habitation access. You can see it's very, 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 very primitive. Nice. Yeah, not even the toilets are hidden. Where are the toilets? You can't even see the toilets. No, there's the toilets, and the lack of any kind of privacy. No, there is privacy. You can see with the shutters over here, but still very, very simple, very, very basic, and very, very Drake. So as you make your way across, hello, future prospector that clearly isn't a pirate. So as you can see, one of the things about the Drake Caterpillar is each of the particular segments of ship is very modular in its frame. you can pretty much run all the way down the gauntlet and get to the end with, be able to get through all of the stuff, which is pretty cool. Hang on, let me just quickly get up. There we go. So yeah, the concept of the Drake Caterpillar is it's a tiny ship which sort of is latched onto a massive, like, container of pretty much, yeah, the Drake Caterpillar is just a giant container with a rocket at the back, but this rocket can be detached and fly off to do other things. It does have a series of armaments, a few size 3 and 4 turrets to be manned by players, but again, the flight ability, there is no locking on the doors. So it's a ship that I think is gonna be overshadowed by the C2 Hercules, especially in terms of flight mechanics and efficiency with its engines, and also its money-making capacity will be vastly more. The money-making capacity of the Hercules will outweigh the potential usefulness of the Drake Caterpillar, which I feel a bit sad for, because now the ship is gonna struggle to have any validity in its life. So, yeah, I won't lie, I'm a little sad to say, but every ship has had its day. Every ship has its day, and then every ship has its moment of quietness before fading into blackness. And I think the ship probably may survive. Maybe some players who enjoyed flying the ship will go give it a run once more, but if you're really into trading and transportation, you probably want to go for the best ship in the verse to do that, and right now that's the Hercules. The C2 has so many more advantages, and for 105 quid more, you really aren't going to be. I would say 105 quid more is well worth the investment in comparison with this ship, which struggles to get over 100 in even in space. There you go. Can I slide down as? Oh no, you can't. Oh yes, you can. You can slide down a ladder without a rail. GG. But yeah, no, it's very limited in what it can do. But if you enjoy the utilitarian aspects and relative cheapness of this vessel, you can in fact purchase this vessel in-game, however. So that does have that going for it. It costs only 4 million, which may make the difference in terms of in-game currency cost. Maybe it's a ship that you get as you work your way up to the Hercules. But yeah, otherwise I would say don't bother with this ship anymore. It's kind of seen its day, and it will remain as a good favoured friend. It does have a tractor beam that currently doesn't work, so maybe that will be something that you can incorporate in future endeavours, but I doubt it. I very much doubt it. As we make our way from the main hall, we are treated to more options for rentals, a few Drake Defense Con shirts and other bits. I will be fair. That's new. That's pretty cool. So the Drake Interplanetary does have a ship which I am actually interested in, which is the Venture, or the Vulture in this case. So the Vulture is a salvage vehicle, which once salvaging becomes a real mechanic in the game, we're actually going to see quite a bit on. Which I'm gonna be excited when it does become quite a new Vulture. We're gonna see quite an improvement in Drake Interplanetary's value to players, because I don't know many other vessels, with the exception of the Reclaimer. That's done by Misk. Was it by Misk? Yes, I think it was Misk. The Reclaimer is basically a dedicated salvaging ship with its own internal, whereas with this vessel, it's kind of like it grabs all the shit and then flies off. I'd like to see this ship in-game, definitely, because having seen it in EVE Online as a mining vessel, I'm kind of curious as to how we're going to be able to accomplish that, in how that would work in this thing. But going over to... I see, yeah, the holodecks on the side, cool. I know what you are. We're going now over to the... very nicely done Drake Interplanetary Dragonfly, which I think has got some new colours, unless that's just a reflection. No, it's just the regular thing. So this is a Drake Dragonfly. This is a skimmer bike with a pretty decent armament. Well, I say decent. You can upgrade it, which then makes it decent. But for ground-based combat, shotgun shells is not such a bad idea, especially if you're doing hit-and-run stratagems. Jet bikes at the moment, though, are kind of boring. There are much more better ground vehicles out there, and I think these vehicles are currently kind of underwhelming, given the fact that they have a tendency to either plow into the ground or just explode because you somehow plowed into the ground without even realizing it. But either way, I would say this is a vessel that you kind of... It's not bad. I've used them. It's enjoyable. They're fairly simple to field, and if you're new to utilizing ground hover bikes in this game, then by all means. But again, no more much than a gimmick, but still, if you enjoy it, go for it. Anyway, we make our way to another cause. We're going to save the best for last. Oh, hang on, we got multiple. We have multiple. Ooh, hello. So the first hangar deck, a holograph that someone's trapped in, is the ship, the Vulture. This is this is like little 3D representation. As you can see, it's all grayscale, so not quite finished on the details yet, but getting there. Looks like it's going to have VTOL thrusters. This is using the same as the Drake Cutlass. Simple, but cool. Yeah, it's definitely got more details than last time. We've seen a lot of images of like the 2D style, but it's nice to finally see some 3Ds. Only thing I'm kind of wondering is, I like the text. It's very cyberpunk, isn't it? But no, I like it. It's cool. Oh God, Lorville supporter. But no, this is cool. I like the Venture. I know it's Vulture, but I'm going to call it Venture because people are then reminded. And while this you could say is a major, like, oh, they just copied it. It's like, well, CCP of the company that makes Eve was like, yeah, no, that's fine. So they were okay with it. So, and it'll be nice to see a first-person perspective of this ship. So so I'd say it's pretty good. Again, I'm not gonna lie. I'm looking forward to that ship. So what's in this one? The Corsair. So the Corsair is basically the Drake Interplanetary's answer to the Carrack. It's got multiple weapons, multiple missiles, and has the ability to land and set itself up as a kind of base on other planets. And judging from the amount of weapons and other things, we're starting to see a much clearer internal picture. We're also seeing some defense turrets at the back, which is pretty nice. So I'm happy to see this vessel. It does look very, very good. And at first, I won't lie, I was not a huge fan. I was like, oh, this ship looks terrible, I don't like it, why is it one side, the other? Yeah, I know, it's petty, but again, I wasn't a huge fan of it at first, but I'm seeing the light and I'm beginning to appreciate what this ship could potentially be. And as a challenge to the Carrack, I'd like to see it, because then it really would give Drake Interplanetary some cause to make some good moves, because it has got quite a decent amount of armament as well. And who knows, maybe the less law-abiding, we'll say, will find this to be quite the good ship for it as well. She's totally one of those people. Anyway, moving back over to the other side, I think the last is in fact what we're hoping for, and everybody knows it, and I don't care. We saw a glimpse of it earlier, and I think it was a nice little tease, but for those who haven't, allow me to introduce you to my end goal for this game. Hello, baby. This is the Kraken. This... even more detailed than before, vessel. Nice. Still in grayscale, sadly, but I want it to be more. This is a carrier. It is a carrier of many ships. You can have two versions of it. The Kraken Privateer, which sacrifices a good portion of its cargo bay and its Dragonfly bay for a bunch of like basically stalls for you to sell shit at, and a private one for you to, which is located around here. You can have as a sort of a private endeavor, which is good because it basically means you can go to a random location and set up shop. Or if you just have the bog standard Kraken edition, you get the ability to have a fuck ton of cargo, with each I'm assuming you're going to be utilizing to repair new stuff. And you can act as an operating FOB slash carrier, because this is a carrier of awesome proportions, and I can't wait to see what kind of ships we're going to be able to get on the main deck of this thing. This is the pride of the Drake Interplanetary fleet. It was unveiled in 2018 at CitizenCon, and everyone lost their collective minds because it was a fucking carrier, a player-controlled carrier. It has also been made available for sale. I'm sure it's probably made available for sale at this point as well. overall, I would say this ship is a dream. I want it. I need it. It's my end goal. It's a ship that I desperately want to have, and eventually I will have. And I will be saying to you, I will probably be looking back at this video many years into the future going, yeah, it was worth it. look at me getting all excited over a ship and being completely valid in that excitement. I can't wait. I seriously can't wait. This is a beautiful ship. Can I actually get on the top of this and actually get a higher look? They never let me do this. Can I do it? Oh, almost. Ah, yay. I get to look up at top. Look, see. Right, we'll try and zoom in so you can see the kind of thing. So as you can see by this, the glimpses that you actually... Oh, no. Oh, perfect. I can actually kind of see. So the way that the flight deck is laid out, you've got one flight deck, which is currently like... It's pretty much a traditional flight deck. And then on the opposite side, you have a series of pads, which then lead into hangars, which is really fucking cool. I like it. So yes, definitely a fantastic looking ship. I can't wait to see this in action, and it will really kind of go a long way towards making that independent feel. You know, you could be an organization with that, and really make your mark on the verse, because my god. Ooh. So there we go, guys. Drake Interplanetary Defense Con. Yeah, it's not a big event in comparison to the rest of the Invictus week. It's basically showcasing what vessels they've got off, and at the moment with what vessel variants and other stuff we have, we're not seeing too much at the moment. But once ships get through the Cutlass, Drake, Corsair, the Vulture, when salvaging becomes a thing, I reckon salvaging and that ship will probably become the two big things. Like when we do finally get it, that's going to be the lead ship that will hold us into it, which I'm looking forward to seeing very much so. Hopefully they don't do a traditional Star Citizen where they unveil the ship and then, or they hope they don't do a reclaimer where they unveil the ship, awe and mighty and awe, and then say you kind of can't use it because that would be silly. But for those who are wanting to rent out all of the ships, of course, you can do so by clicking on this little pad over here, and all of those ships. In fact, you can see all of the ships made available. And interesting, you also can play some of the alien ships? Huh. Maybe you can buy alien vessels as well. Maybe. Oh, can you actually... Can you get the... Okay, yeah, you can actually. Holy fuck. You get the Argo Mole. You can even rent it for 2 more days. That's pretty fucking cool. But anyway, so, yeah. That's it for Invictus Week, and it for the time. I thank you very much for enjoying any of these videos. This week has been a bit of a roller coaster in terms of ups and downs. The frames have been not great, but more stable. I would say overall this event has been more successful in terms of stability than it was last year. I definitely will say I had not as nearly the same level of issues playing this as others bits. We still had occasional 30Ks, crashes, and the like, but yeah, I would say I had a much better time with this than stuff like than other bits. Because considering that when you go from one part of when you leave Microtech, you actually can at least get some decent frames and get some other stuff done, which is saying something. But thank you very much for everyone who's watched this. And when I do my channel update, I'll kind of give a decent-ish review as to what's going on, and also what I thought how this event went and how I did well in this event, because the cold definitely did give me a fucking slammer. I'm not going to lie about that. But anyway, oh look, there's the event in the distance. You can still hear the fucking fireworks. Of course you can. But still, I hope you have enjoyed it. And I hope to catch you in future videos. She's like, how the fuck did you get out there? I hope to catch you in future videos in Star Citizen. But until then, I hope you had a lovely... Oh, hello. Hope you have a lovely day. And I'll catch you then. This is Mr. Jaeger signing out. Huh.